Hello, and welcome to Keeper's Corner Podcast, where we're breaking down anything and everything Utica City FC related. With your hosts, as always, Matthew Sterling, Michelle Brooks, and Brandon Brooks. Let's go.
You do that way too loud.
Hello.
Yeah, you might as well wait a second.
Composure. No, I'm going to leave it, and it's just going to open with you doing that, and then us falling apart.
I ain't scared. I ain't scared.
I ain't scared.
All right, let's try this from the top. Hello, welcome to another edition of Keeper's Corner Podcast. Although, apparently, I guess Brandon is taking it from the tip instead of the top. It's Matt, Brandon, and Michelle back this week to talk about the 8th Utica loss in a row.
Is that all? We love our trash. We're raccoons.
Just 8, a third of the season.
It's pain.
This was a 7-2 loss at Baltimore, in which Utica actually outshot the Blarst.
Blarst?
Blarst!
Man, it's been... Let's get into our classic play that changed the game.
Oh, Jesus.
There is no play that changed the game because nothing changed.
That's pretty, yeah. It's a pretty accurate summary.
I mean, okay. Lucio's back.
He is, and he looks decent out there.
I was going to say, I will, well, I mean, we can get more into it. Well, I guess best time as any. I felt that Lucio and Oxy were very good additions to the team overall. I say that because if you look at Oxy up front and you look at Bo in the back, if you flip those two, I don't think you'd see much difference. They both do almost the same thing. Like Oxy does almost exactly what Bo used to do on offense. Like he would stand, he would get up there, he'd stand on the ball, but he would do something with it. Like he would, we saw him serve it up a couple of times really close to some of other teammates. I mean, Bo would do the same thing. But it was almost as if we had two Bows on the field. And with Hoxie's long freaking legs and amazing mustache.
I was going to say, you cannot forget that mustache.
Then, trust me, Baltimore reminded me multiple times how good his mustache was on that broadcast. Anyway.
Oh, and didn't they also bring up somebody's feet?
Anyway, it did feel like we had two Bows on the field, which I mean,
well, yes, we had the actual Bo Yelovitz, and then there was Bo Jelovac.
I hate those announcers.
Just the mispronunciations.
No, I hate them.
It's excusable, like, the first time, but these teams have played each other a lot over many years.
And you know what? They announced a few Florida games, and they never did it when they were in Florida.
It's a tough name to pronounce. We might have some slip-ups tonight.
Possibly. Yeah, potentially.
We know that there's a league provided pronunciate, you get the team sheets for the home team to read off the little fun facts and everything. They're available on the website. They have the pronunciation guide, so sometimes it's just hard to pronounce words that are pronounced in front of you. Well,
yeah, all I was saying, sorry, I just wanted to circle back. I actually felt out of everyone on that field, the most cohesion between any players was Lucio and Hoxie, which, go figure, I mean, they just both came from Florida.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I could see them working together a few times, very, very fluently. But yeah, either way, I digress.
Mm-hmm.
We are raccoons. We love our trash.
Yeah, Michelle, your assessment that there really wasn't a play that changed the game is fairly spot on. I'll just say that the play that cemented the game more than anything was the first goal of the game from Lucas Rocky. And that's, Utica going down for a goal to start for the 12th game in a row out of 12 games this season.
Yep. Beginning of the end right there.
Even in our 2 wins, we couldn't score first.
Nope. We have never scored before the other team this season. They have always scored first.
Yep.
We went over that with Phil.
And it's only continued since then.
It has only continued since then. But, I mean, and that boils down to the fact that we just can't seem to get an offense going. Every time that we are on the field and we have the ball, I can essentially, if you would like, I can summarize what I observe every single time. Almost, I won't say every single time, almost every single time.
Does it involve that bottle again?
Maybe.
I can summarize what I see every time on
We get ball. We move up the field. We get close to the box. We circle the box like an old Western caravan. We pass the ball around the box.
Mm-hmm.
The other team starts pushing us back, and then they eventually get the 2 or 3 guys that are back pushed back to midway, a little bit past it. They keep passing. Eventually, somebody intercepts it, and then it's a 2-on-1 or a 3-on-1 or whatever, and goal scored. Or they at least are back on the offensive. I've seen that countless times this season, and it would be a lot. It would happen a lot less if we, were a little bit more aggressive in our offense. But I know that our offense is struggling. I get that. It's really, really infuriating to see the same thing, happen over and over and over. It's the definition of insanity. You keep doing the same thing, expecting a different result.
My summary is just a whole lot of derp.
Yeah, we are. That's disgusting to see.
Derp, 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 derp.
It's so we mentioned, 2 years ago, several episodes back, that we were middle of the pack when it came to power play efficiency.
Now we're bottom.
Dead last in the league with 3 goals on 18 power plays.
Love it.
And it's
Love that for us.
You talk about seeing the same thing. You have 2 guys you have a guy in each corner, 2 guys up, usually hanging around the yellow line, and then 1 guy in the middle of the box. And there's no movement. They can't, there's like a 5-foot bubble that they'll move, but no one's making runs, checking into the box, dragging defenders. It's a 5-on-4 zone. Like, there are moments that are coachable if the players aren't beaten internally, and it kind of feels like they're giving up on the season.
So there is one thing that they have improved on compared to the beginning of the season, and that's they're actually passing into the middle. Like,
yes.
Before, they would just go around the outside. They would never try and pass it in the middle and then pass it back out to try and, collapse the defense. They weren't doing that for the longest time. Mm-hmm. I give them credit. They are improving in that perspective. But still, no one takes a shot. Like, I understand, you want to find that perfect opportunity. The problem is the perfect opportunity is never going to necessarily present itself if you're going against people who know what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And every single team in this league knows what they're doing. I mean, we do too, but
do we? 'Cause it doesn't look like it.
Well, Okay. Another point. You're just making me go on a roll here.
Good. I did my rants last week.
Yes, you did. And you swore a heck of a lot more than I did. Anyway.
I have a bleep button.
I do have a bleep button, yes.
Yeah.
But I can just make him edit it out. It's fine.
No, that's a lot more work.
So anyway, lost my train of thought. Oh, okay. So one thing that I could go back and I would like to actually see this, but I feel like almost every single game this season, we've had a change on the roster, whether it's a subtraction because of an injury or an addition or 2 or 3 to the roster, which has changed the makeup on the field every single game. And unfortunately, there's been no ability to form any sort of what I've said earlier, any sort of cohesion between the players. It's just been basically throwing people on the field to see what sticks. And what I'd like to see is at this point, we might as well just stick with who we have and let them start to, mold into a cohesive team instead of changing all the players all the time. I mean,
with that, I'm going to play devil's advocate here because you've still got the core group of guys. You still got Bo and you've got Jake and you've got Nate and you've got Andrew and you've got Slav whenever he decides to pop up. There's still no cohesion with the people who are on the field.
Because they're still working with a lot of new people too. They're not the only ones on the field.
We signed 2 people.
We signed 4.
No, we signed 2 and we traded for 2.
It's still 4 new people, dang it.
It's not a signing.
Tell me I'm wrong.
It's 4 new people, but it's not a signing, and only 2 of them played.
I was right.
I'm just going to fit my coffee in my fire.
No, I mean...
He's going bye-bye now.
There were 4 players on the roster on Saturday that didn't start the season with Utica. But I don't know. It's, I made a comment after we added Slav that this should offensively be the Death Star, and it's more deep, been the Death Star in the fact that it is a whole lot easier to blow up than anyone would think.
Yeah, that's yeah.
I'm sorry. Oh God. We are raccoons. Remember that.
Just. But yeah, we're at the halfway point of the season. Our preseason predictions looks like we can kind of burn them for 2 of the 3 divisions.
Oh yeah, those are gone. Those are dead.
I was right on one. I picked Kansas City.
Did you pick KC?
Mm-hmm.
I went San Diego.
I had San Diego. I originally had Florida, but then I went back and was like, oh, we added Slav. No, it's going to be Utica. What's that thing they say about tests in high school about how you just always stick with your first answer?
Yeah.
You always stick with your first
Always
answer.
stick with your first answer.
Never change it.
Nope. Never learned that lesson.
I don't remember who I went with in East.
I
know I went with Ontario. I know I went with San Diego. But I also went with Milwaukee, so that one's been shot.
Yeah, Milwaukee is standing-wise, they're a little bit better than Utica, but they're hanging on to the playoffs by the last spot.
Yep.
Yeah, because I went with Kansas City and Ontario.
Well,
you're almost there.
Speaking of Ontario, they were involved with us in a trade this week.
Yep.
We have sent them Onua Obasi who, love him defensively, but
Not this year.
unfortunately, the best skill any player can bring to a team is their availability, and injuries.
Unfortunately.
It's unfortunate. Hopefully he finds success out there in the Inland Empire. And in return, Utica has future considerations, which under my understanding of how the league works would be that could be either cash, it could be the famous PTBNL, or draft picks.
I was after our discussion with the draft, I was kind of leaning towards potential draft picks.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I don't know how that's going to pan out. I mean, as I said, unfortunately, he wasn't able to do much for us in the couple of games that he was able to play. First, he's been injured for a while, and
groin injury, now a hamstring, and
so unfortunately, we haven't been able to leverage him this year. And frankly, at this point, I have nothing against him whatsoever. He's a great player, but at this point, we just need people on the field that we can use. And right now, I feel like this is kind of Utica. I don't want to. This isn't derogatory towards him at all, but it's just kind of like trimming the fat at this point. We're getting rid of. I mean, we got rid of Diegues, who we haven't been able to use in a year and a half now.
If you want to include the fact that there was no season for a year for us, 2 full years now.
We'll go 2 years.
I say it's late January, early February when we lost him.
Yeah, and so we weren't able to use Diegues. We weren't able to use Obasi. I can kind of understand where they're coming from at this point, where we just need able bodies to be able to get a solid team on the field.
I say send Baxter.
Yeah, send them the dog. He would pee on everything.
We've all seen Air Bud, and then that had like a soccer spinoff or sequel. So let's make it happen. You look like you want to kill me.
I listen. This is not Air Stump, Little Doggo. All right. That dog is stumpy. He could barely. He would have to push the ball with his entire body.
No, just his nose.
No, his whole it would cover his chest.
So he'd have to keep it close to his feet. What you're saying is he's got great ball control. That's what I'm hearing.
No, he's got to keep it close to his chest.
Great ball control. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, all we're hearing is great ball control. And nobody would expect a dog to come on the field. Come on.
And I mean, in worst case, I mean, he's just going to start peeing on everybody, and with what we've seen from reffing this year, I mean, nobody's going to see it anyway. So
yeah, would that be a yellow card?
As long as we don't get a brown card.
He just walks over to the other team's goalie and starts taking a deuce.
All right. Let's take a quick break for our one ad sponsor, and then we'll be right back. And we're back. So I put the poll out on our social media asking, what fans thought Utica should do at this point with the trade deadline approaching, maybe, since I can't seem to find it anywhere on the MASL page.
You can't find anything on their page.
Say what you want about the old commissioner, but transparency was a bit better back then, and they didn't make rules in the middle of the season.
Yeah.
But the poll asked if you look at where Utica is at this point in the season. We are 2-10. We have a league worst goal differential. We have a league worst power play percent conversion rate. We have been injured beyond belief. But we're only 6 points out of the playoffs because the top 8 teams get in. And 6 of our last 12 games are against teams that are currently out of the playoff picture like ourselves. So the question posed was, if you were playing GM, would you say, all right, we haven't looked competitive enough to make a push for this. Let's trade away what assets we have, like, a Nate or a Ben or an Obasi, and try to load up for 2023? Or do you try to find something to bring in that could spark the offense, maybe save the defense from all the injuries, and make a run at that 8th playoff spot? And it was pretty much a 50-50 split. So I'm going to ask the question to you guys. Would you rather kind of call it quits on this season and, let the young guys get a chance to play more often? Or do something wizardy out of the front office and bring in someone that can spark this team and try to make a run at the playoff spot, knowing that you'll likely face Florida in the first round?
I mean, I frankly just don't want to write off the season at all. I just don't. I don't want to just give up. I'd rather see them push forward, rather see them at least try to make something of this season, rather than just say, it's a lost cause, move on to the next one. That's the last thing I would want to see happen.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, I don't really think, again, as I was saying earlier, I don't think bringing somebody in is going to help. I don't think that's what we need. I literally think we need to stop bringing people in and just let the team ride as we are right now. Like, I don't see any reason to change anything else. I mean, yes, we have our problems, but we have the right parts to make something happen. But except for, maybe getting back, because of the, I will say, more seasoned talent that is on the team, which consists of quite a few older players. But we still have some younger guys. If we position them correctly, we can get those guys that can come back, that can get back when we need them. So it's just, I just think we have the right parts to at least make a run for it and try. Who cares? Who cares at this point if we do anything in the playoffs? I would just love, it would be a win in my book if we made it. If we made it to the playoffs at this point, that'd be a huge win in my book.
That's quite a readjusting from where we were in the preseason, huh?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, and it's painful to say, but again, I say, going to my point of just getting some stability in the team. I mean, if you look at our transaction history, we started the season, like the very beginning of the season, with signing Slav at essentially the last second.
Mm-hmm.
Literally signing him beginning of December, and then from there, a month later, not even a month later, 2 weeks, we get Junior, and then less than 2 days later, we get Wanalava. So just in December, we've got 3 guys signed on.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, we get Everton, and we have De Silva, Stefan St. Louis, there's San Luis, Kevin Blackwood, and then we've got Hoxie, Gonzaga, Gabriel, Samuel, and then, of course, we trade away Obasi, which again, who hadn't been involved in the season. We have not. I feel like we have not had a stable week. We have always had an ever-shifting roster, which next man up principle. It should be in play here, but we need stability. We need guys to be showing up essentially, and so that we can consistently have a solid team, or consistently have a team. Really, it's either we're losing guys to injury, because we, along with all those signings and bringing guys in, we've lost people. We lost Obasi, to his injuries. We lost Pat Thompson to his injury. We lost Boy to his injury. I mean, for every guy that we lose, we're signing a different one. But the problem is that that's not the same person. And so they haven't been able to establish rapport with the rest of the team. They haven't found a way to work together yet. And that's what they need. And in order to really be able to try and do that, you got to have guys showing up, and you got to have the roster be stable. Rant over for now.
Yeah, I guess just to touch on how the injuries have affected everything. We have 7 players on the current active roster that have played in every game this year, and that's it.
Yeah, and that just leads more into my point. Like, we just need stability on the field, and we have not had that. And that's not anyone's fault. That's not the coach's fault. That's not the team's fault. That's just the way it's, broken down. Is we've just had essentially a revolving door. I mean, we started the season. Sure, we signed Slav, but we lost Toby, which is a core part of our team, a core part of our defense. I mean, we've had so many transactions this year, losses, gains. It's just been so much. Like I said, it's been a revolving door concept. We haven't seen Logan in a while. We know that he's been, out of it too.
Yeah, he's only played 7 games.
Yeah, it's another one that we haven't really had consistently. So we need consistency on the field so that we're not subbing guys into places that they may not be comfortable in, that they may not necessarily know as good as the other guys. Obviously, they still should know it, but there's going to be certain clicks that just work, and we haven't had the ability. We just haven't had that.
All right, Michelle, same question to you. Are you gonna
give up and focus on next season? We've lost so many people to injury. We've lost so many people to trades. I don't think we're going to come out of this hole after this one.
Yeah. I unfortunately am also on the sell side. Part of it is because in other sports I've seen sometimes what happens when you clear out the veteran spots and let the guys that can contribute to a playoff team make a run at the championship versus keeping them stuck in a mediocre on a good day team. And part of it is the way the season's going. after that 15-5 drubbing in Ontario, watching the guys walk off of the field, you could tell their spirits were broken. And every time we go out and we go down that first goal, it's here we go again.
Yep.
And not to say that fresh blood can change that, but there's as an athlete, there's a very limited window in which you can play. It's not like other careers where you can play until you're 65, work until you're 65. So you could do a favor to some of these guys who have been loyal to your team for years if you can work out a deal for, either younger guys that aren't getting playing time with their current team, or draft picks or cash that can be used to sign players next year.
I don't know. Maybe they should start rubbing Hopsy's mustache before each game. Maybe that'll bring them luck.
Almighty mustache, grant us the power.
Like it's a tough spot to be in, but I don't know. It's not an easy question to answer.
Not at all.
I mean, it's not one that we want to have to answer.
No, I mean, like my heart says, guys will get healthy. We have a weak schedule in the second half. Go for it. But my head is the guys that can contribute to a championship contender. If they ask for outs, let's do what we can to let them go play for a Ron Newman Cup, hopefully. While also trying to look to the future. And speaking of the future, our next game is this Saturday. St. Louis, 8:05. Joey Zanaboni on the mic. Things are going to get wilder than Taz and Animal having a party together.
More electric than a faulty Pikachu oven.
If they win that game, we need to buy beer garden tickets for the rest of the season.
You're doing that then.
Wait,
hey, all I got to do is talk to our rep, and we'll get
the beer garden game's not until Baltimore, I thought, because they're in St. Louis this weekend.
I know, but, it's still a night game.
Okay.
So things get weird at night.
Well,
technically an after dark game.
Yeah.
So that's all I'm saying is if we win the game against Baltimore, I'm gonna have to bite the bullet and be in the beer garden the rest of the season.
Okay. Well,
I'll do what I got to do for the team.
Before we look too far ahead,
sorry,
that's still 2 weeks away from tonight when we record this. St. Louis is doing their alumni game for it's alumni night at their arena. That's kind of funny because we have 3 technically brought out of retirement alumni on our roster.
Oh, St. Louis, Everton, and Pablo.
Yes, all 3 of them played for St. Louis.
Yeah, because in their pictures, they're still wearing their colors.
The St. Louis blue.
Yeah, some basic photoshopping could fix that. But St. Louis, I think, is they're about what we expected. I think they're 5-7. They have a negative 17 goal differential. They're better at home than they are on the road. They've only played 5 games at home versus 7 on the road. They're structurally, I'd say they're kind of similar to Utica in that they don't have a single guy that you have to watch more than anyone else. They don't have a Frank Taiu or a Leo Gibson or Ian Bennett kind of player.
Yep. They're still contenders.
But they're without Paulo.
They are without Paolo.
I'm not saying the backup is bad.
I was going to say, did that make a difference against Baltimore?
No.
I believe they signed Pollo Cortez, and he's taken over the starting role. I know they signed him, but I believe he's taken over the starting role. And in his 4 games with St. Louis, he's got a 5.51 goal allowance with a 7.62 save rate. You've looked confused ever since I said Pollo Cortez.
No, I
Looking him up.
was just pulling up his stats and whatnot.
St. Louis also bringing in some fresh blood this week. They made a trade with Baltimore and brought in Jeff Michaud and Armando Tello.
Yep. I don't know. I mean, to me, those are kind of, you don't necessarily see much. I mean, when have we necessarily heard those names from Baltimore?
I don't know.
Michaud a couple times this year.
Yeah. So I mean, to me, it doesn't make a ton of difference, but I could be wrong.
No. Utica. I mean, their offense is certainly better than ours. They have scored.
That's not hard.
Yeah. Oh, geriatric home would be better.
So they've scored 80 goals to our 46. But defensively, they're worse than us. They've allowed 97 goals to our 87. They've actually allowed the most goals in the league. So maybe this is a game where our offense can show up a little bit. If Everton's healthy after he got that leg issue in Baltimore. If we'll see, you know. I don't know. Do you guys have predictions for this game?
I'm not doing it. I refuse.
Brandon, we bowed out last week. I feel like you and I have to now. Brandon.
I'm thinking. All right, I'm thinking.
I mean, I can see the smoke coming out of your ears.
Yeah, I know. The gears need to be oiled. It's really, really bad in there. I've been lacking on maintenance and stuff like that. Like it's really bad up there in my brain.
You do need a haircut.
I do need a haircut. But I'm not gonna say a score. I'm not gonna do it. But it'll be within 3. One way or the other.
One way or the other within 3?
Yep.
All right.
That's what I'm going with. They're either going to lose by 3 or they're going to win by 3.
Baltimore's better at home, or not Baltimore.
Not the
St.
Blark.
Louis is better at home. Offensively, they're better by a lot. I've got a 7-4 victory going to St. Louis.
By 3.
Yeah.
We're not doing one.
She just can't bring herself to say it. Anything else you guys wanted to touch on tonight?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know how you two feel about it. I am kind of tired of everyone talking about how bad the goalkeeping is. I don't necessarily believe that it has been down to Coughlin or Wilkin. They have been both doing okay. I mean, they've had, if you look at their shots against versus their goals against, yes, they've in total allowed about 70, actually just shy of 80 goals. But shots against them, Wilkin has taken 102, Andrews taken 115. Like, these guys are doing work. The problem is that we don't have much of a defense to back them up. And that's what the adjustments have been on the team with Bo, moving back to defense, to a more defensive role versus being on offense and things like that. I understand the frustration that people are having with seeing goals scored, but it doesn't just boil down to the keeper. My only critique that I have of Coughlin this year has been, you need to catch the ball. You need to stop juggling it because that's gotten us in trouble. That's my one critique that I have for Coughlin at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But basically saying that we need to trade, I've seen people calling out saying we need to trade for better goalkeeping. We need to get a better goalkeeper. We need somebody better in the goal. I still feel those are knee-jerk reactions to just not having a good season. And we have seen what Coughlin can do. We've seen what Wilkin can do. I mean, Wilkin's had a few good games. He's had some great showings this year. The problem is that these past few games have been just a total collapse of the team. I look at the Ontario game specifically. That was just a total collapse of the team. And especially a collapse defensively. And I just don't think that these two guys in particular deserve all the hate that they're getting for their quote unquote lack of performance.
I'm just going to say, if the people are going to talk the crap, maybe they can do better.
You're not one to talk. You've been calling for Coughlin's head for a while, too.
Absolutely, because stop juggling the damn ball and actually catch it.
Either way, I'm coming to plate for these two. They've been doing the best that they can this season with the defense that they've had in front of them.
Yeah. Our defense has been the bigger issue, I think.
I disagree with that. I think it's been our offense.
Well, okay. Our defense's depth has been the bigger issue. Ben is the only one of them. Ben is the only defender on the team to have played 12 games.
Yeah.
Schindler missed his first at Ontario.
Yep. Which we really needed him against Frank.
Vitali missed a game. But, you talk, there's 3 lines, just because you have 14 guys on the field or on your game day roster, although it'll be 15 with the new rule going into effect. Or no, they're forcing you to have 2, and I don't think they're upping it to 17, if I remember correctly.
I don't believe so.
But, I mean, like I said, we've had 7 guys on the team that have played all 12 games. And Nate, Christian, Bo, Joey, Quentin, who's actually played in all 12, as have Somau. So 4 of the 6 offensive guys are your staples. I don't know. It's
the way I see it at this point is that it goes back to the old saying of a good offense, a good defense is a good offense. And I feel like we have not had that, which is why,
there's a lot of pressure.
We have not been able to apply pressure on offense, which basically just tells, this is how I feel like the other teams are looking at it. Okay, we wait them out. We'll steal the ball. They're not going to be able to defend us because they're all going to be up. They're not going to be able to get back. We're going to get there and score. Goes back to exactly what I said at the beginning of the podcast. And how many times have we seen it over and over and over against different teams? Because the offense is not executing. They're playing with it. They're getting pushed back. They play with it some more. It gets stolen. The rest of them can't get back to help, and it usually ends in a score.
Yeah. There's issues everywhere, unfortunately.
Unfortunately. It is true.
Happy news unrelated. Did you see the Nintendo Direct tonight?
I was going to say I saw all of the announcements. I was literally just putting add to save to watch later so that I could watch them after this.
Did you see the one about the Mario soccer game?
No.
It's going to be 4-on-4 with 5-on-5 if you include goalies on a small field that looks like arena soccer.
You got my attention.
Like if you've played the soccer ones before, they're a lot of fun. There's an electric fence that you can check people into for the boards. It's like having glass up around the entire arena.
Oh yeah, I'm seeing it now.
Uh-huh.
Ooh.
So if you're an arena soccer fan looking for a video game that's kind of going to simulate it, that's going to be your best bet. Even if it does have giant fireballs and tornado kicks.
Just need to mod it so that they can have Utica City jerseys on them.
Look, if you know someone that can mod, go for it. I guess that's all for this week. We'll be back again. Well, maybe not next week because the game's on Wednesday. And we record Wednesday, and I don't know if you guys just want to bump our recording to Thursday late again.
And if that's what we got to do, I'll be around.
Okay. We'll figure it out next week.
For Michelle, but we'll figure it out.
I'm an old lady.
All right. Well, thank you for listening. Hopefully, at some point in the second half, we can have happier things to talk about.
That's the hope, anyway.
Maybe at some point we'll know when the trade deadline actually is. And for anyone that's still listening, we appreciate you sticking with us through this difficult season.
Difficult season and the rant fest and all that other stuff. And Michelle's coughing.
All right, so signing off, I'm Matt.
I'm Michelle.
I'm Brandon.
Those are lies, but have a good one. And that's the truth.
Bye.
Hey everyone, thanks for listening to the Keeper's Corner podcast. Be sure to subscribe wherever you listen to us so you never miss an episode. If that podcast app also has reviews, be sure to leave us 5 stars to let us know how we're doing and reach a larger audience. It really helps us out. You can find us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Keeper Corners Pod. And you can always find us there talking UCFC soccer. Thanks again for the support. It's truly appreciated. One last thing. Go Utica.